digital was nothing there. We did the first, like web only content when we started doing the fantasy hockey update with Scott. And so it was like we were creating content only for the internet. And everyone's like, what are you guys doing? Like, why are you wasting time? And that's when we were like, Jay, Dan, like we should do a podcast. At that point, there were no podcasts. There was nothing. It was like a blank canvas. And we all, again, we had this kind of like similar, a spot of like understanding what was going on in culture. Like, this is going to be amazing. Right. Do you remember this? So we went, and it was like you, me, and Jay, and we talked about it. We were like, hey, let's do it. We went on the set.
We just sat at the desk and talked.
15 minutes. We're like, that's enough. That's a demo. This is going to be amazing. It was like you guys shooting the shit. It was kind of like, okay, we're going to be able to like let the barn doors open here. Right. And we were just like, I remember we were so excited, and you guys were like, hey, we're going to go take this to like the powers that be. Do you remember the feedback that we got on the very
100%? We sent it to our bosses, and they said, this needs to be 5 minutes. And we're like, we only did 15. And we're like, but people you aren't even pulled out of your driveway in 5 minutes. We're like, that makes no sense. And that was one of the countless times where I thought to myself, these people are in charge of us. They have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the moment when I realized we are so far away from being able to like break through what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this idea of this podcast was too long at 15 minutes. Like, we just recorded like snippet. Like we were, there was nothing. And then the other piece of feedback where I was like, okay, they don't get it, was nobody wants to hear these guys talk about it.
And we never talked about sports when we actually started doing that. So that was 2009.
So, yeah. And I remember it was like maybe 4 months later or something. And you text me a link, and it was Tim and Sid's podcast.
Oh.
And we were like, and Tim and Sid took off.
Yeah.
That blew up. I ended up like leaving. That's when I left and went into advertising. Another couple months later, I got another text with a link, and it was Jay and Dan's podcast brought to you by Home Depot.
Yeah. No, it would have been Mark's Work Warehouse.
Mark's Work Warehouse. But it was like, it was good. I was happy to see that it like happened, but it was just one of those things where it was like, we had it right there.
We had it, yes.
And we couldn't get the other people involved to buy into like.
And the weird thing is, for them to just give it the green light would have cost them $0. There was no investment needed. We had the microphones, we had recording equipment. They just had to send it out.